Jayna, congratulations. I can't imagine how busy this past 24 hours and even before that. I'm sure you've heard from a lot of people, but I'm wondering if there's one or two anecdotes or stories or people you've heard from that sort of exemplifies exactly what this moment means to a lot of people, but specifically women in sport.
Well, it's so exciting. I think, some of the most meaningful ones are the players. I had a note from Hillary Knight last night that came in and it just said, thank you and congratulations. And I said, I'm happy for you guys, like these players that are going to get to experience this, but they're so appreciative of the work and the belief that we have in all of them and the sport. And I think it's just so impactful from a women's hockey perspective, from a women's sport perspective, and from a societal perspective. I have daughters and I have a son, and my son, sits and watches the Women's World Cup with me, and he knows these female players, and he doesn't see them as female players. He sees them as athletes. And it's, this is going to affect generations to come in so many ways.
There is an overwhelming appetite for women's sport right now. You and I, a second ago, off camera, were talking about sort of the timelines and a bit of urgency and that things have to happen fast. So maybe, Jayna, tell me a little bit about the urgency and striking while it's hot.
Well, we're committed to starting this season in January of 2024, and we realize, we're all very aware that the timeline is aggressive and we would love to have more time, but we're pushed by what we've committed to the athletes. And this has been a long process to get to this point, really over the last number of years, but specifically the last 2 years to get to this point with this ownership group and the infrastructure we have in place. And we're committed to the players that we're going to get this up and running. And we've been very clear also that we may make mistakes in year one, but we're going to fix them, and we're going to get to a scenario that everyone is very happy with, and we're going to continue to grow audiences and grow the game.
There's some big names tied to this. Hearing Brian Burke talk about this being perhaps the most historic and important day in women's hockey. I think about the icon and the legend, an idol of mine, Billie Jean King, being attached to that. There's a lot of legitimacy here, Jayna. How important was that to get it right, to get the right stakeholders involved in this?
It's critical, and people often ask, how's it going to be different from the past? How do we not repeat the history? And I think that's the first answer, is we have people that have experience in doing this. Mark Walter has to be one of the most prominent sport owners in the world. He is also, very close to Billie Jean and shares her values. Billie Jean and Alana Kloss have been fighting for women's sports and equality and equal pay and all of those things for 50 years. Everything they touch, they're successful in. And so to have the backing of people like that bring experience, that bring resources, that bring capital, that bring a commitment to doing it right at the ground level, that's a difference maker. We have the best players in the world. It's a point in time for women's sport that's so exciting. Demand is there. But to have a Billie Jean King and a Mark Walter that are standing this up is critically important.
So there are some key dates. The one I think a lot of people are excited about, September 18th, this historic draft. Share some details on that.
Yeah, September 18th will be the inaugural draft. And this is something that as a player group is really, really important. And as I led the Players Association, we talked all along about the integrity of a real draft. And in the past, it's often been built on convenience and where someone lived or where their family was or how they could make it work with a job. This is different. This is going to be players that get selected to a team because someone believes they can help them win a championship. We're going to support those players as they relocate with housing stipends and everything that professional athletes receive. But it's going to be about where you best fit into a puzzle to win a championship. So for the athletes, it's going to be an incredible moment. And for us, we're going to try to put on the best possible show for them and make sure that experience reaches their expectations, because many of us, including myself, dreamt of one day being drafted, walking across a draft stage to a professional team and getting to play for a team that wanted you there in your community. And this is a moment I think a lot of them have dreamt about, and we want to make sure we make it special.
Big picture, when we talk about this league in particular ushering a new era of women's sport, how much of a leader can the PWHL be in changing the entire culture of women's sport? Because that's the sense I get from everything I'm reading and hearing from your organization, that you believe this can be where the bar is now?
Yeah, I'd like to think we can set the bar. I mean, we've looked for so many years towards the WNBA and watched them grow and succeed and cheered them on. And the NWSL similarly embracing and celebrating their successes. And I think as we build this out, we can look at the experiences they've had, look at best practices, look at maybe things they got wrong, and make sure we don't make those mistakes. And I think that's part of the growth, is that we can learn from others, they can learn from us. We have a group that's behind this, that is committed to so many things beyond just women's hockey, but around equality and equal opportunity. And so I really think we're going to set the standard. We have a CBA in place before we even launch this league. And I don't know if there's any league that's done that before, but what it does is it provides certainty for the athletes. It provides certainty around working conditions, player safety, meals, housing. For the ownership group, it's sustainability. It's ensuring that we're on a path to make this successful in the long term. So I think we are setting a new standard, and I hope people will continue to push us on it, and we'll all rise together.
Wishing you great success and thrills for you and the entire team, Jayna.
Thank you. Appreciate it.